have to be prepared to play without any given player. That's not unusual business.
He's a good friend. Obviously, you want him out here, but that's business.
This is the business of football. Sometimes these things happen.
Cowboys fully expected that on Sunday they were going to announce that they signed Elliott to an extension.
It's not there yet.
Very, very close.
Zeke, do you expect to play Sunday?
If I have a deal.
The 40-day holdout is over.
The deal between Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys has been finalized.
This roster is stacked.
All of that would make Ezekiel Elliott the highest paid running back in the National Football League.
Good morning and welcome to First Take. I'm Roz Golden-Woode filling in for Molly Karam, and we have Damian Woody, Max Kellerman here.
What's going on? Look at you. Tie, nice, everything's good today?
Well, I'm feeling good.
I'm glad you took my instruction yesterday.
I feel like, now with Zeke dropping, I'm going to come.
You got reprimanded. You thought I was a substitute teacher.
Reprimanded by who?
And then you found out that actually the principal is in the building, and now you wore a tie. Very good.
Okay, I'm going to show you what the principal all about. Oh, he know what's out. He know who it is. Big and small right here.
Yeah, that's right. He does look like.
All right, well, I like the tie, and we got some big news today. All the big news coming out of Big D. Finally, we've been on Zeke Watch all preseason, and finally, Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys reached an agreement on a 6-year, $90 million extension, and according to ESPN's Ed Werder, the deal has $50 million guaranteed.
It's a shooting match right there.
That's what you said was important the whole time. All right, well, with the 2 years remaining on his current contract, the agreement would tie him to the Cowboys through the 2026 season. So Zeke hit to Twitter to celebrate. Yeah, he's eating good now. Zeke's new extension catapults him to the top of the list as the highest paid running back in football. It's a big day for Zeke and the Cowboys franchise. And guys, Max, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Who won this deal, if you can even say that, Zeke or the Cowboys?
Is this a trick question? This is not even a win with a unanimous decision. This is TKO. He won this thing with a knockout. Damian, this dude was not next up. He had 2 more years on his deal. He's not the best running back in the world, and he had 2 more years on his deal. And the Cowboys came out and said, we're not resetting the market. So let me get this straight. He didn't have to go to camp. He shows up week 1, no wear and tear, as the highest guaranteed money running back in the NFL after the Cowboys said they weren't going to do it. This is such a clear-cut win. I would love to hear you argue the other side. I can't even imagine what your argument is.
Well, I am going to argue the other side because I think the Cowboys won this deal. Listen, everyone, first of all, the devil is in the details with any type of contract situation. I know everyone's going to throw out, the $50 million guarantee. We still need to know what the structure is of how they're going to pay that out because that is important. But, Max, let me give you some perspective on this, okay? Everyone talks about, he beat Todd Gurley. Did you know that in 2011, Adrian Peterson had a $40 million guarantee? In 2011, that was 8 years ago, Max, 8 years ago. Okay, as much as we talk about Zeke and what he signed for, the running back market is about as stagnant as it was back in 2011, and the salary cap has skyrocketed to this point. The Dallas Cowboys has Zeke locked up for 8 years. And do you really think that Zeke is going to see those all eight years of this extension? Heck no. They're going to run Zeke into the ground. Now, they have signed basically their whole offensive line into like 2022, 23. But they're going to run Zeke into the ground. They're going to run Zeke into the ground. There's no way that Zeke is going to see any portion of the back end of this deal.
No, so he got the $50 million guarantee.
What I'm saying is everyone talks about resetting the market. Again, Adrian Peterson got $40 million in 2011. It's in 2011. Adrian Peterson got $40 million.
That's not the Cowboys winning. That's just the devaluing of the running back position.
Why is it not the Cowboys winning?
First of all, is Ezekiel Elliott Adrian Peterson?
Is he supposed to be the elite back that everyone's talking about?
No. But Adrian Peterson was here. Clear number 1. Ezekiel Elliott's not number 1. But he might not be top 3.
But Max, we're talking 8 years later. 8 years later, we're talking about
more.
Hold on, excuse me. 8 years later, Max, come on now. 8 years later, in 2011, He's only getting $10 million more guaranteed 8 years later.
Okay,
Max,
8 years later.
The years on the deal.
What's that?
How do you like the years on the deal?
You have to give those years because you're 2 years
That's
away
funny
from
money.
free agency.
That's funny money. He'll never see. Never see any of that.
That's why I never cared about the average annual value, the total deal. I don't pay attention to that. The only thing I care about when I see these deals is what is the guaranteed dough? $50 million. He already signed a $16 million contract. He probably got about $10 million of that. So what we know about Ezekiel Elliott in an era where the running back position has been devalued over time, and I'm here to tell you he's not a top 3 back. In fact, game for game, like some of his durability and the fact that you get reliable returns with Ezekiel Elliott running through, between the tackles, all that, I give him credit for that, no doubt. But game by game basis, I got 5 guys I'd take before him. And he just made 60. He's probably going to see in his career minimum $60 million.
So let me ask you a question. What running back means more to their team than Ezekiel Elliott? There's no
that's
other
That's a different question. But that's a position of leverage in terms of where the Cowboys are, how they built their offense, the whole thing.
Right. I mean, the fact that what Ezekiel Elliott means to the Cowboys, and I just keep going back to this point, Max, the fact that in 8 years, okay, the guarantee portion is only going up $10 million. So from the Dallas Cowboys standpoint, listen, we got our guy in. We got our guy back in camp right in time for the season opener. Okay,
no wear and tear on him.
No wear and tear because he didn't have to go through training camp. And in the grand scheme of things, little 50 million when Adrian Peterson got 40 back in 2011. You think Dallas Cowboys is looking at this over 8 years? Over 8 years.
I think you're changing the question because, look, no doubt, teams where everyone criticizes teams for taking running backs up high, I've said, in fact, there's some wisdom. There's some, it's crazy like a fox. Because they give you production from year one, because you never really have to pay them, like he's going to make $60 million over his career, that'll be like the most that a running back gets. And considering his value, maybe that's still a deal. You don't have to pay for the decline. And by the time it's time to pay most of these guys, you go, well, your time's up as a running back. So there's some wisdom in juicing that position as the Cowboys have. But you're asking, was the deal won by Ezekiel Elliott or the Cowboys? The owners of the team said, we will not make him the highest paid back. He is 2 years out from free agency, and he ain't the best guy, and he just got $50 million guaranteed, which is the record. How can you say he didn't win this? He didn't even have to hold out and miss a game check.
Because again, Matt, listen. Again, a lot of this depends on the structure. We just heard the $50 million guarantee. We don't know how it's paid out or any of that. So I think that's a big part of the puzzle here. But again, I'm
going to give you $50 million guaranteed. You really care about that?
Yeah.
How's the structure?
For me, there's a big difference between, okay, I'm getting $50 million guaranteed. Upon signing my contract, give me my money, as opposed to $50 million guaranteed where it's being spread out over a period of time.
I'm quite sure it's being spread out over a period.
That's right. And you know what else could happen in that particular situation? We've seen Zeke in the past have incidents off the field, and guess what could be in jeopardy in that particular situation? The guaranteed money.
Wait a minute. If Ezekiel Elliott can't behave off the field in a way that preserves his guaranteed money, that's on him. The bottom line is, I would have thought it's a win if he had to miss a couple of game checks and wound up as the second highest paid back. He missed 0 game checks, reset the market. He won, brother. Ezekiel Elliott won.
Do you guys trust Zeke over the course of 8 years, character and behavior-wise?
What has he done for me to trust him? I mean, listen, if you're habitual, you've had incidences time and time again throughout your early part of your career. I'm in wait and see mode. No, I'm not going to trust you. And I'm pretty sure the contract is structured as such where the Dallas Cowboys like, okay, if you mess it up, then we're going to come back and get some of that signing bonus money.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott, like if you heard Saquon Barkley's introductory press conference, you said, oh my God, if this kid could throw. That's a franchise quarterback dressed up as a running back, the way he carried himself, everything. And it wasn't like this fake kind of PC football answer he's giving you. It was like Andrew Luck. You asked Saquon a question, he gave it to you from his heart, and it's exactly what you wanted to hear, right? And it was even nuanced. That is where you trust your money with a guy like that. Ezekiel Elliott is a riskier proposition unless you're talking about returns on the football field. Zeke gives you constant, reliable, predictable returns between the tackles.
But he's not a top 3 guy in your opinion.
Not game for game. not game for game.
We will touch back on this topic throughout the show and also on the topic of Dallas. First Take is coming to Big D this Friday. Join us as we kick off the NFL season in style from Texas Live, just outside Jerry's World.